Oh wait, I gotta grab my base for my phone. All right. So I gotta grab that. And then let me put this here. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, I did the other one and I did at everyone, and I should have waited for this one to do at everyone. I think more people will probably be interested in this than the other video I just did. I mean, it was still cool with the designing, but quite a few of you guys have been tagging me, asking me, inboxing me about my thoughts on the new machines, because y'all know I'm definitely team Silhouette. And just kind of wanting to hear my perspective. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to let you guys know my first thoughts, some things that I'm a bit concerned about, things that I'm excited about, and we're going to go from there. All right. So let me just go over here to my Facebook. I have to adjust all of my settings here. And then we're going to share it out. All right. So as you guys come in, if you can hear me right now, or if you're watching the playback, let me know as of the day that you are watching this. Have you seen or heard about the new machines? And if so, what are you most excited about when it comes to the machines that they have announced the release of? All right. We are going to come over here and let me get this all shared out again. All right, so more options, group. Oh, I'm so mad I did the at everyone already. Oh gosh. Okay, so control, copy. I'm going to try it, although I don't think it will work. I'm going to attempt to still do at everyone, although I don't think that it will actually do it because you're only really allowed to do it once per day. So we're going to see. As you guys come in, drop a hey, how you doing? Let me know where you are watching from. Almost done here. Okay. All right. Hello, 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 everybody. Oh, let me set this up real quick. How are you guys doing? Incredible greetings. Hello from Indiana. This is my first time hearing about the Cameo 5. Thank you for doing this. Awesome, awesome. No problem. Y'all know the video was eventually coming. Yeah, come on. Incredible greetings, incredible greetings. Hello, hello. Make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up, give it a like or a heart if you're watching over on Facebook. Tag a friend if you're inclined to do so. Go ahead, share it out. This is a general video. So if you have some creative friends, go ahead, share it or tag them in the video. Incredible greetings. Hello, hello. Thank you for watching from Douglas, Georgia. Hey, just say hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm excited, but I also have some things that I personally have observed based off of, just knowing machines in general. So, all right. Hello, 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 hello. City girls, period. Hey, hey, hey. All right. Let me, it never did turn on. So let me get this set up over here. Things. Okay. All righty. There we go. So I had to go live over there. All right. Wait for that one to go. All right, there we go. We're live. So, incredible greetings, everyone. I am Shakia, the professor of HSINK365, home of Honestly Speaking, where we carry the absolute best game-changing sublimation paper that allows you to sublimate as low as 365 degrees, as fast as 30 seconds. Also, the home of Silaholics Anonymous. And that's where I've been teaching you guys about Silhouette Studio, this Cameo machines for the past, I think it's the last time 9 years. Actually, been like 8 years where I've really been like teaching it, but I've been using it for about like 9-10 years or so. And so, of course, I'm one of the like resident experts when it comes to this whole silhouette thing. And in a couple videos, people have asked me about it. People have inboxed me. They sent me like links from other people's videos and said, hey, Shakia or Professor, have you seen this? What are your thoughts? Are you planning on getting one? And we're going to dive into all of that. So if you have, I want to kind of see where some of your thoughts are right now. So if you have seen any of the little snippets and videos of the newly released, which is not, it's not available for purchase and shipping out just yet, although they did have some at the summit. I'm not sure if people at the summit were able to buy them because I saw like boxes and things like that of them. But they should be soon. Like they're showing them on the site. So I'll be able to tell you as far as like the price point of them and all the different new features and whatnot. It's okay. I've watched quite a few. I've been waiting for this. I wasn't, I wasn't privy enough to be invited to the summit, but it's okay. I've watched enough content where I've formulated, my thoughts on what has been released and what, they're showing so far. All right. So for those of you who have also seen some of this content, what are your initial thoughts on these new machines? So if you don't know, it is a Cameo 5. The Curio, which they've never really done any updates to, is now the Curio 2. It's like a flat bed instead of kind of like a machine that kind of feeds through. And then, of course, the Portrait 4. Those are the 3 machines that they have updated and that will be available for purchase really, really soon. So just want to kind of hear from you guys first, some of your initial thoughts also. That's why I don't understand why you were not invited. I have not watched your content, and I would have been. Oh, you have not watched, or you only watch my content? You would have been lost. I don't think the videos I've seen give enough info to make a decision. Waiting till I see videos with people actually using it. I mean, there's still some things that you definitely things that I notice, and maybe it's just because of how I view things. There are things that I notice that are great, and there's some things that are going to be a bit concerning for me. Haven't heard anything. Curious about the electrostatic mat. Excited that it's quieter and faster. Okay. Oh, you only, okay. I'll keep my 3 and my 4. Okay. Waiting to hear your thoughts. It's freezing. Y'all better leave me be. I am freezing, okay? I get cold easy. Yes, and it's a big old Michael Kors bubble coat. Yes, I'm cold. And they were looking at me like I was crazy. And I went to go get my food. They're looking at me like, why this girl got on this big old bubble coat? Y'all better leave me be. Okay, your girl gets cold fast. Oh, come on. What's wrong with this thing? The pocket was stuck. But anywho. All right. So let me do a screen share real quick. The bubble coat, the fact that it's a bubble coat is what makes it funny. Yeah. Yeah. So news to my ears, totally trust your judgment when it comes to silhouette. And let me flip you guys around. All right. Let me bring it out. So there it is. That's the shape of it. That's the Cameo 4. If we go to shop, you're going to see that it's going to come in a couple different colors. Wait, where are they? Because they had them products. I know I just saw these things. Cameo. Maybe it's okay. So this is that's not the one I'm looking for. That's the old one. I know I just saw, new. There we go. Go to new, Shakia. All right. So you can see, we're going to start right off with what the price point is. It's going to come in white, a matte pink, a matte black, and then basically, what is it called? Bianco Carrera, which is basically marble. Not really sure where this came from. In like the grand scheme of colors, I don't know who requested this. To me, this was totally left field. I'm not sure, is it that people have like marble tops and it's gonna blend in? I don't know. That one was a bit of a loop for me. It was a total. I like silhouette, and I'm a teal girl. Like that's one of my favorite colors. I really wish they would have had one in like the signature silhouette type color, although all of my machines are the white ones, but I would actually purchase one if it was in this blue color, because that's one of my favorite tones when it comes to colors. All right. So it as of right now, it comes in a 12 and a 15. And when I say I am so glad they did not do a 24, with the way the Cameo works, it's just not ideal for a 24-inch cutter. Like not at this time. I think some major changes have to be made for the way that they do their system, for it to really work for a 24-inch cutter. So I am actually glad that right now it's only the 12-inch and a plus. So 12 and 15. I want them to really, 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 really work on this 24-inch design. With the Romeo being out and now the Venture, they got to come correct on that 24-inch cutter. They have to come correct. So I'm glad that they're not, quite there, with having that one yet. So the 12-inch is retailed at $329.99. I'm not sure this probably isn't like any bundles or anything like that. I'm pretty sure different places like HSN or Swing Design, like they'll have different bundles with vinyl. And so the cost of it will end up going up. But the base, where it's going to be your standard machine, your standard tools and mats and things of that nature, $329.99. And then the 15-inch is $429.99. So an additional $100 for 4 inches. Not even 3 inches. I'm sorry. I'm not where I get 4 from. So an extra $100 for 3 inches is what you're going to pay. Okay. And that one is only in white. Some of the interesting things, and I guess like with this whole machine and the way that it was designed, you can tell that this was designed based off of the new accessories that they came out with. it's not, I don't like, how can I say it? I feel like they just took into consideration those things and not like normal operation if you're not using them. It's almost as if they expected everyone to really be excited about this whole electrostatic mat and want to be able to use it. And not really thinking about those who, really don't have an issue. Like, I don't have an issue with mats in general. I have an issue with their mats. I wish they would upgrade and update their mats and make them a bit thicker. But I'm not one that really has, like, it's never been this really big issue for me when it comes to mats and, the whole electrostatic. And like, that's not a big wow factor for me because I'm like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, you need a mat to cut it. So I'm not really like, it's not a big thing for me. But the way that it was designed based off of being able to use that electrostatic mat, which causes some not so great parts of this machine. Just based on my thoughts and my opinion and how I utilize the machine. So I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go past these real quick. And we're going to come to the electrostatic mats. Okay. They are only 12 by 12. They're not 12 by 24. So you would not be able to use this for longer sheets of cardstock. I'm big on 11 by 17. This isn't going to work for that. So the fact that I don't even purchase 12 by 12 mats, that one thing was a bit of a turnoff for me because I don't even purchase 12 by 12 regular mats. I'm always purchasing 12 by 24. And it's an additional cost. So it's $99 for the Cameos. I don't see one that is made for the plus. The only sizes are the 12 inches. So even if you get the Cameo Plus, you're still only have a 12 by 12. I'm just going to keep saying ES now instead of electrostatic, but you only have a 12 by 12 electrostatic mat. And then of course you have the one for the Portrait 4. All right. So the other machines that they released is, of course, the Portrait 4, which is just the Cameo in a smaller format. The reason why it is a 4 instead of a 5 is they did not do an update when the 2 for the Cameo came out. They did not update the Portrait until the Cameo 3 and like kind of mimic some of those things when it came to the Portrait. And then, of course, when they got the 4, the Portrait 2 was closer to like how the 3 was because of like the auto blade, basically. And then the Portrait 3 was the auto blades, but the newer auto blades with the magnets on the back. And of course, now we have the Portrait 4. They have not updated the Curio since its inception. And it was more like a regular machine and it feeds in, had the mats. Now this is more like a flatbed type machine for embossing. The bar will move over the top. Your material will never move, which is a good thing when you're doing like the embossing and stippling and things like that. So it will move. I always used to want the Curio. It was a little bit more compact. This is something that's going to require a lot more space. So I'm intrigued by it because I was always intrigued by the regular Curio for embossing and things like that. But I don't know if this one's going to work because it's a lot bigger and I don't have the space for it. So yeah. But those are the 3 machines: Cameo 5, Portrait 4, and the Curio 2. Okay. Some of the key features or new features on it, if you've ever used the quill pens, which I do have some, that's something that's very popular amongst like card makers and things of that nature. And you had to have a USB plug to plug that into to power it. Okay. Whether you had the external like power plug or if you ran it to your computer, but you had to have a USB plug. Silhouette has built that into their actual blade carriage. So there's a little spot at the top. It has three prongs because you need electricity for the electrostatic mat. it made sense to also make it where you can power these powered tools for the hot foil. So that's what this is right here. So the heat set pen or heat pen for hot foiling, it sits like, you'll see like 3 little prongs on the top, and it sits in there where it's going to heat that up for heat embossing, heat stamping with foil. So that was kind of a good add since you needed it for the electrostatic mat anyway. And you now have, okay, so the power engraver is for the Curio, but for the Cameo, before you could not actually like emboss with the Cameo or do true score lines. You now can do that with the Cameo because they have an additional mat, which I don't know if it's on here, but they have one which is called an embossing mat. Now I don't know how that would work because I haven't got my hands on it when it comes to like you doing regular cuts, because it's meant more so to emboss and not cut all the way through, although it does use like a small cut and then it goes over it. Not really sure why the cut part is needed if they have a special embossing mat, but it puts a thin cut and then it will emboss it. So for scoring, that kind of worries me for scoring because it's still like you're cutting into your material versus just embossing it. So that is one where I'm glad they have an actual, like you can use the embossing tool with the Cameo. There is an embossing mat, but the fact that it has to cut a line into your material first and then go over that with the embossing tool, I don't think that's going to fare well for scoring because you're cutting a straight line. Now, if they still did the dash line and then did it, so I'm still on the fence about that. It's great in theory in what they were trying to do, but I'm like, I don't know. Okay. The other thing that was updated on this is a cross cutter. So if you're cutting with no material, instead of having it feed out the back, with them moving the bar, it made it to where I'm guessing they don't have like there has to be a groove somewhere where the blade will move to, or maybe one of the other tools. I can't wait to get my hands on it to see how that's actually cutting, because you normally need the cutting strip. But they now have an auto cutter, so it's not a cross cutter in the back. The actual blade will cut through your material to be able to separate it and give you a clean line. So that's something that was updated and added. All right. I want to, okay, I got to go back because okay, let me see if they don't have this open. Do they? Oh, yes, they do. Okay, perfect. Here's my issue. Okay. Oh, wait, one more thing. They brought back repeat job. Some of you guys know that if you hear me talk about the 4, one of my biggest pet peeves with the 4 was what the hell happened to repeat job. I actually just used that today. I had to do 5 sheets of stickers and not stickers for buttons. And I like being able to just put it in my 2, hit repeat job, and I didn't have to come back to the computer to send it. So they did bring back that function, and there is a button for repeat job on the 5. With the 4, because there were no actual like words or anything like that, and everything was just on the machine itself, and it was basically like lights and like touch sensitive. There was no button. Like it has to be a physical button or light up button for it. So now they've brought that back. So electrostatic mat. And someone asked, what does electrostatic means? It means that it's not a sticky mat. So it's going to hold itself in place via static. So there's no curling. You can do intricate cuts. They say that you're not supposed to get tears when you try to remove it and stuff like that. Once you lift the mat up, all of the pieces will just come off. So there's no curling. You don't have to turn your mat over to peel it up and things of that nature. And you can do thinner materials because it's not going to stick. So electrostatic basically means non-stick. All right. So I'm going to pull y'all back a little bit. All right. Do you guys see the way the bar is. So they have made updates to the bar for the pinch rollers. If you notice, it's now moved to the front. It has these really big, what to me, they're kind of clunky clamps to be able to release that and move them. I can't really tell, and I don't think any of the specs have really talked about the clearance on it and how much clearance you have. Because with the other ones, you can do fairly thick, material. This part right here, it looks like it's pretty much touching the material. So it has me concerned about doing thicker items, thicker media. Now, you can move these anywhere. So if you have something really, really thick, you can always, of course, move it out to the side and your material will just be in the middle, which is, kind of what you do with the other ones as well. But I'm just concerned about how low this bar now sits to where it's scraping, it's almost touching the material. So getting thicker materials in there, I'm like, yeah. Also, with the way that, how long this is and how it covers the material, I can foresee that being an issue depending on how you use the machine. Everyone doesn't use it the same way. And I am someone where I've used so many different types of materials. I've used it in so many different ways. I can foresee that being an issue with having that clamp there and the type of material that you'll put in it. The other issue for me in the placement of that bar is loading the mat. I have to hold my mat when you're going and you're putting the mat in. When you're holding it there for it to grip, and then you hit the button. Like, you have to hold your mat. You have to go over to hit the button for the mat to load in. Normally, I am holding the mat on the ledge to hold it in place and then hit the button for it to feed through. You no longer have a ledge. And I saw quite a few, like in the video, when people were loading it, it was a bit of a struggle to really keep that in place and then be able to still hit the button. If you were going to do that, I feel like the load button should have been somewhere closer to the mat and not way out to the side. Maybe over here. I mean, it's just loading the mat is going to be a pain in the butt because you don't have a ledge. Now, what they're probably banking on is the fact that the roll holder is attached to the machine. So you can actually pull that out and it kind of acts like a base. But if you are someone that stores your machine on a shelf and not on a table, you can't utilize that. You can't pull that out because it's not on a flat surface. If you have a bunch of machines, they're on a shelf, you don't have that clearance. So then you're going to have to do something extra, like maybe put, what is that thing? Well, actually, even if you put a ruler there, it doesn't really help with loading it because that's going to be much lower. But they do have that part that comes out and it kind of sits level with it. And I guess they would assume that you would put your mat on there to help feed it in, since you don't have the ledge to kind of grip your mat and, help guide it in. So I personally don't like the bar that's here. I don't like it there. And it's also like being able to see where you're loading your mat at. On the other ones, you can see clearly where that line, like, where you have to put your mat at, especially for print and cut. When you're just cutting vinyl, you're cutting paper, you can be off a little hair. But when it comes to print and cut, it's looking for those registration marks in a specific area. I did not see any print and cut going on. I don't recall seeing anyone do any print and cut. I saw them cutting paper. I saw them cutting fabric, vellum, things like that. I did not see. I got to go back. I might be mistaken, but I don't recall any print and cut. And your mat really has to be in the right position. So having to kind of like crouch down to like really see where your mat is, because that bar and that roller is covering it, For someone like me that does a lot of print and cut, that's going to be an issue for me. And it's not even colored. Like they didn't make it like on all the other ones, it's either blue. Like if you got a white machine, it was blue. If you had, I think on the black one, it might still be black, but I think on the pink one, it was like a gray color. Like you can clearly see it. They don't have that on here. And because it's covered by the bar, you can't even really color it in yourself. If you are someone that has vision issues and just being able to see that, I have astigmatism. So things are kind of blurry for me. And I like having that color. And on my machines where it's not colored, I put vinyl over it because it's something that helps me. So because it's not colored and I cannot actually put vinyl on it or put, a Sharpie on it, that is an issue for me who has vision issues. The other thing is with the electrostatic mat, I'm trying to see if they have, okay, perfect. Here's a picture of this. So the way that this works is there is a clear film that you have to put on the mat before you charge it. If you have small children, you have grandchildren, please make sure that this is going to be somewhere where they cannot get to it. Because if you don't leave that plastic piece on top, and then there's also, which thing I didn't understand is it only charged up here for the 12 by 12 mat? Because you have all of this area right here. And what they'll tell you is once you turn it on, because there's a button right here to actually turn on the static. Once you turn that on, if you touch the surface, you are going to shock yourself. Kind of like like someone said, when you put a battery to your tongue, which I already know, what electrostatic is. You're going to shock yourself. I'm concerned about this. Y'all know who my child is, right? Zani Mani is very, very inquisitive. He likes to touch stuff. He likes to help. So if he goes and he wants to help mommy and pull something off and it hasn't turned off yet, and he touches that, I'm concerned about that little joke, especially being the fact that he has epilepsy. So that is a bit concerning for me, to where this mat is not a true excitement for someone like myself. When you put this mat down, you have to rub your hands over it to remove the bubbles. If you do not remove the air bubbles underneath, it's not going to actually have that static and keep your paper or your material basically like sucked down to the mat. So as it's cutting, it can then move and then F up your project. It's too many variables for me. At least with the sticky mat, if it's not sticky, I can tape it down. I can do things like that. So like how close this is, you're not going to really be able to tape it down. The outside part is stationary. You have this middle section right here, like right to where the red is. That whole thing pushes up. So adding tape to this to keep it in place, not, because it's moving. It moves the entire time it's cutting. You're not going to be able to put tape on that. And I mean, you can try and tape just the one side, but that doesn't really help, when you have a regular mat and it's not quite sticky. So I'm not like super, super, super excited about this electrostatic mat. I'm also not one that does a lot of intricate cuts. If you do a lot of intricate cuts or you're working with a lot of vellum or thin material, this might be intriguing to you, but you are going to have to put in some work. Like you have to, when you're putting it down, you have to make sure there's absolutely no air bubbles. Once you put your media on top, you're going to have to go over it again. So it's adding a lot of extra steps. All right. Again, what I did not see them do was print and cut on this. How does that work for print and cut? And does it line up? And, most of the people I kind of saw this, I didn't really see like a defined indicator. They kind of just put the mat down. You do have to buy replacements of that mat. It's not like the other ones where you can just kind of re-stick it or use tape and you can prolong it. Once you've cut through that, you cannot use it because you can shock yourself. So you will have to keep a lot of those electrostatic clear mats on hand if you want to utilize that feature often. That's an issue for me. So yeah. And like I said, I did not see them do print and cut with it, so I wouldn't know how that would really work. And I'm more of a, that's to me the one of the best things about Studio is the ability to do like the oversized print and cuts. What else? It was something else with this one. It was something else I said when it came to this one. Okay, they don't have 12 or 24. You have to buy the replacement. It'll shock you. Dang, I feel like I'm missing something when it comes to this one, but I don't remember what it. Oh, duh! Looking at it, you need all this space. If you are someone that has this really nice table, or you have a 6 foot or 8 foot table, and you can put your machine like that, great, you can utilize this. But if you are like me, mine is on a shelf, and I like to have, sometimes I have my side by side. There are times where it's turned to the side. I'm using my 12 by 24 inch mat, and I could technically like use that, but mine has grates on it. I don't know what the feet look like on this, whether or not it will go through that. I have to kind of put something solid over it, because I do have a thin clear mat, but if this has feet, that might dip down and it'll be a little bit off. So it's not ideal for every workspace. You need to have that clearance to have the electrostatic mat on there if you choose to use that. The other thing is, if you're someone that does, like me, I have 6 of them, and there are times where I need to have multiple machines, or even if I'm just using one machine, but I have a bunch of different prints or a bunch of different paper that has to be cut. I like to preload my mats. It just helps with speed. It helps with efficiency. So if I have a bunch of colors I have to cut, of different, even if it's different shapes, or if I have a bunch of the same cuts to do, I'm taking multiple mats and I'm putting my material on there. That way I can load the next one. I can, and I can start cutting that. And then I'm going to demat the other material. You still have to take that off to demat it. So you have to turn it off, to make sure, you have to make sure that it is off and it's no longer has the static. You take it off and then everything just falls off. I mean, that part is cool. But then you have to go through that same process every single time, where you're pushing out all of the air bubbles, putting on top. So for someone that is using this within a business, that is not something that's going to be very efficient as far as time. If you are just a casual crafter, a hobbyist, hey, it's probably going to be perfect for you. Someone like myself, it's not going to be great for me. So not being able to to have my material on mats ready to go is a turn off for me, and just the fact that you have to have a lot of table space. Okay. Yes, you still have sticky mats. That's not going away. You have the ability to still use your regular sticky mats, but this is something that, that this was their new release. Big thing, it is quieter. There was a lot of noise in there, but it doesn't sound like a freight train coming at you. It doesn't have all the grinding, so it is much quieter than previous models. Yeah, I don't like the extra tray. Everyone doesn't have room for the extended tray. Exactly. All right. Any questions? Any feet? Like, what are your thoughts so far? Look, Tracy, I'm taking off my bubble jacket. What are your thoughts so far? And me kind of going over it. Did any of you, if you've looked at it before, you saw the videos, did any of the things that I mentioned as far as can be disadvantages, did any of you guys notice any of that? Did you guys pick up on any of that? Does it change your thoughts about the machine with having those pointed out? I'm doing too much moving around, so it's starting to get a little warm. And I have this this light on me, so we'll start to get a little warm. What are your thoughts? Now that I've given kind of like my breakdown, now what are your thoughts? There was no mention of like software updates. When you go to the software, there is a new beta version. So we go to learn more, and when you go to beta, but the release notes only says that it's now to support the Cameo 5 series Portrait for Curio, support for the new electrostatic tray for the Cameo 5 and the Portrait 4. There's no actual changes to the software, which I was hoping there would be some additions to the software, but as of right now, there is nothing. And the one that's here was in May. So there are no new updates as of yet. Yeah, no new updates to the actual functionality of the software. I'm a beginner, just brought a Cameo. Well, welcome, Queen Armania. I teach Silhouette Studio, the software, like learning to design in it. To me, the machine can be, once you kind of get the hang of it, it's kind of straightforward as far as the machine goes. It's, understanding or learning your cut settings, which we have a Silhouette first cut where I break down like all the cut settings and how to change your blades. But our main focus is the software, because that's what's going to be the biggest learning curve. I haven't watched the interviews. Besides you talking about it, I haven't heard anything else about them. Can't wait until it's in your hands to see how it does with registration marks, if it will read every time on the first time. Besides the quietness, I think the 4 may still be my go-to. How do they decide what features to keep, update, or remove? I'm just curious. I have no idea. I've never talked to them people a day in my life, so I don't know who's on there. Let me tell you what was funny though. So I was watching Big Brando because he's there. He was invited by He Press Nation. And so he's like, when I kind of went there, he's like, it seems like I'm the only t-shirt guy there. He was like, it seems like it's like a lot of older women and they're just like crafters. I know Crafts of a Different Shade. I just saw her on being interviewed by He Press Nation. So it was Alicia from Crafts of a Different Shade. She's there. Not sure if she's on there, like their beta team, or who's on it. So I don't know where they get their feedback from on what's included in the updates for the machines or the software. You did an excellent job at providing details. My Cameo 3 is still kicking with over 2,000 cuts to date. I will definitely look at purchasing this once mine stops working. I'm not a big fan of the 3, so I was glad when the 4 came out, because I actually couldn't stand the 3. I just thought it was big and clunky for no reason, and that tap 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 drove me nuts. I really don't see a reason to get the 5. I like my 4. They need you on their team. Oh, thank you. My Cameo 1 is my absolute favorite. Like, don't get me wrong, I liked the updates of the 2, like having the USB, having the repeat job, things like that. The touchscreen, although actually I really like the analog and I like the buttons, because if anything ever happens to the touchscreen on any of these other machines, your machine is basically rendered useless. If the screen messes up on my original, I can listen to know how to adjust it, like in loading stuff. So I'm not worried about that. I have 3 originals. I absolutely love them. My 2 is, provided my screen never gets messed up, the 2 is my all-time favorite. Like, that is my favorite machine of all time. 3, I absolutely could not stand. I just understand why it was so huge. The 4 is pretty cool. Don't really have any gripes about it other than the not having the repeat job. I also did not like that they took away the USB port. which I understand why they did it, because you don't have a screen to look at to set your settings and all of that. And they basically made it where it's an app. For somebody whose phone is always dead, or I'm always on my phone. So feeling like I would have to have a separate device. If I'm somewhere on the go, I would have to have a separate device that could connect and communicate with the Cameo 4 or 5 through the app. But I'm always on my phone. Like, I wouldn't be able to go live and then, and do that, because it would communicate that way. So I'd have to have another device. So I was never a fan of this no screen machines. I didn't like that about the 4, not having a screen where you can actually have settings on it. Because I'm just not a big fan of the app. The app they've made it where you still can't fully design in it, but I guess on the go for little things, like you can now trace in the app, and there have been some updates to the app. I'll probably take a look at it. Even I've never utilized the app. I've never had a use for it. Like I said, most times I'm on my phone, so I'm like, why would I want an app on there? Yeah. So if I was ever on location, I'm going to take my 2, because I can put everything on a USB port, USB, and I can cut without having the computer. But I may download the app just to see this whole trace feature that they have on there now. I'm not so fascinated by it. I have a Cameo 3 and a Cameo Pro. I'm more interested in the Curio. I'm still a beginner. Probably will get rid of my Cameo 3. I'm not a big fan of the Pro. You have both of the machines that I absolutely despise. So for me, I would get rid of both. I only keep my 3 for teaching purposes when someone has a specific question, but you rarely ever see me cut to that thing. Let's see. I gave away my 3. I still have my 4. I just purchased a Romeo, which I'm falling in love with. Yes. Tomorrow we have a live, and I'm going to update the software and take a look at the software. And then on Saturday, I'm going to do my normal things that I would do when I get a new machine. So you're going to see how I set up and how I prep and all the test things that I do. I'm doing that on Saturday. And then next week, Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm doing my first print and cut with the Romeo. However, for the last 2 years of rolling with the professor, I know Silhouette software inside and out. Thank you. You are very welcome. And yes, you can use the program and design and just save it and use the file that you save with any cutting machine. I mean, some people love their Pro. I guess because I have other large format cutters, it's kind of that when you know better, you do better. Like, compared to all the other ones, it's like this was pointless. This was just, and I'm glad that they did not just come out with the 24-inch. Maybe it eventually will come once they work out any bugs, but I'm glad that they did not have a pro version for this one. What is it? Corinthia, do you do print and cuts with yours? Do you only use your 24-inch mat, or do you use 12 by 12 and 12 by 24-inch mats also? So no questions, no feedback on it. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you guys don't have any questions or feedback on the Cameo 5. The portrait is pretty much the same. It's just a smaller format. And then the Curio, I haven't really done content on Curio, so me talking about the Curio is going to be kind of pointless. I know right now that you say it, maybe I'll get rid of both. I will love if Silhouette have a trade-in option. Yeah. If you are just joining, we did a recap on the Cameo 5 that was just released at Silhouette Summit in Hawaii. And I'm going to just go over the colors. So they're going to have white, matte pink, matte black, and then basically a marble one. The 12-inch is $329.99, so basically $330. And the 15-inch, which is the plus, will be $429.99, so $430. The electrostatic mat is an additional like accessory. So that is $99 for the 12 by 12 size. And you have, so when it says protective sheet, I don't know if, I guess that's just to, is that just parchment paper? I don't know what that is. That's $7 for that one. And I don't even, there isn't even one for the 12 by 12. Don't know what that is. If that's the actual replacement mat, like the clear part, or if that's just a protective sheet. I don't know. I don't know what this is for $7. But they don't have the, unless this is it, I haven't seen anything to know how much the clear pieces will cost for you to purchase more of those. I haven't seen that on anywhere, because this is just the regular standard mat. Yeah. Let's see. Only because of teaching purpose. Now, I would hope that maybe one day they'd realize that I am the best person. As honest as I am, my honest thoughts will probably have them thinking about things they did not consider. I don't understand why. You know, it would be nice to be able to get one to try out where I don't have to purchase it, but I did purchase my 4. I've never been given a machine by them. Will I get it probably initially? Probably not. But being the fact that I teach it and it is a big part of our business to teach it, and you know, there's going to be some people that we're going to want to know how to load material, and like if that's their first machine, I will most likely get it for teaching purposes. But it's not something where I'm like wow about. That bar in the front is like, if it was just me and I did not teach, I would not be interested in getting it at all. That bar in the front is a complete turn off for me because I can't see my line to load my mat. I don't have a ledge to hold my mat. That alone would cancel that out for me just off the bat. I purchased a solo 2 months ago. The learning curve was too difficult for me, so I put it back in the box. I hope one day to sell it. Yeah, mine has never been touched. I don't think it's been powered. I think it has been powered on at least. That was about it. Maybe we need to start a petition for you to join their team because you know the software like the back. I know the software. I also know the machines like the back of my hand too. It ain't just the software. I know their systems like the back of my hand. All of them. Which is why that bar situation is really, really bugging me, man. All those in favor say aye. I'll tell you, it's media@silhouetteamerica.com. If you want to send your petition in or your suggestion, media@silhouetteamerica.com. I'm learning, not a professional, but I'm learning. Hey, we all professionals still learn. I guess you could say a professional at this, but I'm always still learning. So we should always be learning. All righty. Well, thank you guys so very much for hanging out with me and listening to my thoughts on the Cameo 5. Just my initial thoughts. This is me not physically touching the machine, just from the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different videos that I've seen. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 that I've seen on it. These are just things that I observed, and even just looking at the pictures of it. When I saw the first picture of it, as soon as I saw that bar, I was like, what in the hell? And then when I finally saw a video and they were trying to load it, and I was like, I knew that was going to be an issue off the bat. So yeah, those are my thoughts on it. Maybe I'll, eventually get one and be able to actually put my hands on it, put my eyes on it, and really kind of dive into it. And yeah, if that time comes, of course, you guys know that I will bring you a video. Until next time, guys. Oh, don't forget to visit our website. Whether you have the original, the 2, the 3, the 4, if you plan on getting the 5, you still have to know how to use the software. I promise you, there is no one else better to teach you the software, the ins and outs, the whys, not just the hows of Silhouette Studio, to where you can design any and everything you want. I had to remove a picture, but if you're in my group, go and look at the picture that I posted, because I couldn't put it on my public pages yet because it's for her campaign. And of course, they don't want, anyone from their school to kind of see their campaign stuff before, it's released, but it's in my group. If you're in my exclusive group, my VIP group, and designing stuff like that and being able to pull in pictures and fade things off. I really, really like design. Having the shadows and the way that it pops, like how you would design in a commercial-based graphic designing software. I can show you how to do some of those same things right from Silhouette Studio, and you don't even need the upgraded version to do a lot of those things. So I teach you the why, not just the how, but you get a lot of the how. And it starts with our 30-day training, where we go through every tool and function. Our 30-day training is our flagship course. You will need it if you want to learn hands-on, weekly sessions, really diving into it and really becoming self-sufficient with this software, where you will feel limitless. You'll be able to design anything, modify anything, change anything. If that's your desire with this software, then you want to start with the 30-day training, and then be on the lookout for our bachelor's program and master's. Bachelor's will basically be for beginners, really, really diving into it and learning the system and doing a lot of practice things. I'm building in homework assignments, and then master's is all about like designing, really, really learning how to design in Silhouette Studio. Okay. Alrighty, until next time, guys, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity. Visit shop.hsink365.com to purchase our ink, paper, and enroll in the 30-day training. Until next time, peace.